Hello, everybody, and welcome to an overview of your final project for your Introduction to Affective Computing in e-Business course. As you know by now, your final project will account for the majority of the points that will become a weighted average into your final grade. So really, it's quite important that you do your final project well and you submit it on time to our Google Classroom. So there are two options on how you can do your final project. One is to create your own research project, and the second one is to create a report based on an existing case study, in this case on a company called LV, and then to create a report and a Loom video based on that. I have to say, although you can choose between both of those options, I would kindly ask you to work in groups that are no bigger than a maximum of 4 students, and all of the students need to be listed on the presentation and they need to collaborate on the video. So please make sure you don't copy out of each other, because those things will be carefully looked at during their grading. And then these are the two options. So the first option is you create your own research projects, you design your own project, you collect your own data, you create your own report, and then based on that, you jointly within the group create a Loom report video. The second option is you use an existing case study where we already have collected the data, in this case on a company called LV based out of the UK. And then you can do your own report, but please, although you will have some template slides, do not copy the slides, but make your own conclusions. This is a brief guide on what's the outline of your final project. And then in the follow-up video, you have the actual guides on how to use the platform and actually create your own project. But the first thing that you do, you go to the URL for app.tacit.tech, and then using your AAI email, you create your own account. After you create an account, you click on Enter Invitation Code, and you copy this code in order to unlock the options to have an option to create your actual project. Once you do that, you can insert the basic information about your project, such as you can upload an image, you can edit the URL suffix, you can add any descriptions, and you can also edit the start and the end date. After that, you will create codes for your respondents. These codes will be sent to your respondents. You can send them an email or a WhatsApp message. And that is how your respondents will be unlocking the research flow that you created. Then you create your research flow. In this case, I would highly suggest using research options such as questions and links. Usually a combination of both links and questions work really well. In the follow-up video, you have more explanation on how you can do that. And on this screen, you have an example of a research flow created for LV. After that, you create any respondent filters that you think and you find might be appropriate. In this case, we have respondent filters on the screen, such as annual and monthly income levels, gender, age, and any other options you might see fit. After that, you create any set of answers that may be appropriate. For example, answers like okay or agree, disagree scales, easy or difficult scales, options for genders, options for income levels, etc. Anything you might find appropriate. After that, once you have at least one session, you are kindly encouraged to inspect the quality of your data by clicking on post-process, where you can see the actual quality of the data. Before you send it to the actual respondents, we would also suggest you use the app code as a test code. So really you go into test mode. And when you're in the test mode, you go through the exact same research flow. For example, go to adidas.com, grade how adidas.com worked for you, and then close the session. But you do that without generating the actual data. So you don't skew and you don't create any biases within the database of the data that you collected. Then recording data as a respondent. Here you can see when you want to actually create the data as a respondent, here is where you insert into this web session you insert your respondent code, and then you click on Start Session. Here is how it looks like. You copy paste the code, then you send it, and it goes into the web session option. After that, you need to allow the system to capture your screen. Don't forget to select the options. So you need to physically select, click on whether you want to share your entire screen, application window, or just Chrome tab. And after you select them, you need to click on it and then click on share before moving to the next page. This is very important, and this is the equivalent of really giving the permission and making sure that the respondent is aware that you will be observing their screen. Make sure all of your data is stored. Try to keep your sessions relatively brief, because this is just a test project. And that is it. In this appendix of this presentation, you have an example dashboard, you have an example project report, and an example video. Here is an option for those that don't want to do their project, but really just want to use the existing data. They go to this URL, and here is where they can see an option of an actual project. This is a project for a company called LV, and this is a benchmarking of LV against Wago. LV is a UK-based insurance company, and Wago is also an insurance product, and this is a benchmarking of the two products focused on electric vehicles and providing insurance for them. Here's an option of how you can see. We have analyzed, opened different snapshots, really zoomed into the moments when different peaks and lows were created. And then if you click on this slide, let me just exit the presentation mode. If you click on this slide, essentially, you will see this insurance company case study, which you can go and inspect for inspiration. We have 49 slides here, but obviously you don't have to do the whole 49 slides. You just have to do the basics. Here you have a brief explainer video and a brief video discussing the KPIs. The one thing I would like you to keep in mind before going to the final project is to make sure you analyze your project based on the criteria that we have mentioned on our courses. Things like what were the elements, how we collected the data? Was it unimodal? Was it multimodal? What were the privacy and ethical concerns that you had during this project? Make sure you really comment on the elements that were essential modules of our course. And I am looking forward to seeing all of your projects and grading them. Of course, if you have any questions, any challenges, feel free to email me or book office hours so we can discuss it via Google Meet or meet in person. Thank you.